Copenhagen Cowboy is a Danish-noir series on Netflix created by Nicolas Winding Refn, best known for his work on the Pusher film trilogy and directing 2011's action drama Drive. On this podcast, we like to review the latest installment of a different series every episode. The pilot we're discussing is called Miu The Mysterious, which has a runtime of 56 minutes. It's January 8th, and you're listening to today's episode.
Refn is either a director that you love or hate. There's no in-between. In fact, I have a game to start this thing off because he's known for collaborating really with 3 actors, and I want to see if you can guess which one.
Oh,
I
know them, though.
I
think 2 of them, at least. One is Ryan Gosling.
Uh-huh.
The other is Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the third is.
Okay, so, I guess...
So it's a game of 1.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen or Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I think it's Mads Mikkelsen?
No, it was actually Jake Gyllenhaal. Mads Mikkelsen has worked the most with him, actually, out of all of, the actors. I think Tom Hardy only...
Wait, I thought I was answering for that, the one that worked with him.
Oh, the one that worked with him? Yes.
Yes, then Mads Mikkelsen.
You are right. He's worked on, Valhalla Rising, the first 2 Pusher films. He was in, a very early film of his called Bleeder. Then, you were saying, Tom Hardy, he worked on Bronson with, got good reviews. But then Drive, obviously, I think it's his most well-known, at least American film, critical acclaim. And they worked with Ryan Gosling again on Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
But it's not only that. After a certain event that happened, because I want to get to that kind of later, he started to work on American television shows as well. He did a 2009 television film called Agatha Christie's Marple Nemesis. He also worked on a 2019 Amazon Prime show called Too Old to Die Young, starring Miles Teller. And this is actually his first Danish language work since Pusher 3, which I just saw to get acclimated to him, which was all the way back in 2006.
Which is also strange because I know that he has a production company based in Copenhagen, so I assumed a lot of his projects would have been dealing with Copenhagen.
The comparisons between Pusher 3 and just even what I know about this series are insane, because both take place in Copenhagen, both deal with the criminal underworld, and also the main character of Pusher 3 is also one of the main characters in this TV show.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Before you ask me, 5 words that I would use to describe this show are abstract, raw, experimental, and dark pink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so visuals, and also people say gritty as well.
So you've seen all the Pusher films?
I just saw Pusher 3, the last one.
Pusher 3, do you need to see the other 2 to really understand
No,
it?
it's like a standalone story, I think, each time.
Yeah, they're 1, 2, and 3. All right, and is it anything like what I just said? Abstract, raw, experimental, dark pink?
Almost exactly like that, yeah. I would say that the last 30 minutes of Pusher 3, and I'm not sure if this is the same type of show, but it's very gory as well.
And the thing about this director, this creator, is that he's way into the presentation, the direction side of things.
Absolutely.
And less about the plot. However, because you've seen Pusher 3, I want to know how much of this synopsis actually follows that. So okay. I'll just jump right in. There's a skinny, gaunt-looking lady in her 20s, driven to a house and exhibited to a gaggle of middle-aged women, who fawn over her and pet her like she's some sort of angel. Then they start snipping her hair and giving it out like party favors. They're actually paying for little strands of her hair. Okay?
Huh.
After the party is dismissed, Miu, because that's this woman, this thin person.
And did you recognize her? Her name is Angela Bundovic. Did you recognize her or the name?
Not the way you said it, but I didn't also recognize her.
She was from the first season of The Rain.
The Rain?
Yeah, The Rain.
Oh, you watched
show
that.
We did, a long time ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't have recognized her then. Miu is shown to her room and told by Rosella, the person who's brought her there, that her duty is to make Rosella pregnant. Now, Rosella is in her, I would say, late 40s, and also spread luck. It's implied that Miu is like a witch.
Okay. Supernatural. That's what people were saying.
Metaphysical ability.
Yes.
Rosella says if it was 400 years earlier, you'd be burned by the stake. So that's where I'm getting witch from. A few blocks away from where Rosella's staying, there's this pimp named Andre, and he runs a brothel. Andre is Rosella's brother, and both are wretched human beings, ugly people in and out. The girls from the brothel live in Rosella's basement during the day, so Miu sees a lot of their mistreatment firsthand.
Okay.
Rosella's husband, Sven, doesn't speak. He only grunts and squeals like a pig. He rapes one of the girls in the basement while Miu is watching. Andre finds out, beats the shit out of Sven, says he owes him 15,000 krone, not krona because that would be, I think, Swedish, but krone is Denmark.
Yes.
Currency.
Right.
Miu makes friends with one of the escorts. Her name is Simona, And she also lets her borrow her cell phone to call her mom. That's how they initially hit it off. Rosella assumes that she's pregnant because she's starting to get really hungry. She gets overjoyed, but then she tells Miu, because she's a nasty human being, that she's not going to pay her the full agreed upon price because of how quickly Miu was able to do it and how easy it was.
So just stopping there, like, is this a hard show to watch? Because you're talking about rape, you're talking about mistreatment.
Really, it's not, because it might sound like there's like total disgusting stuff happening, but it's presented in a way where it's more inferred. Like we see Sven take the woman and put her over the counter, and we know what's coming next, but they don't go and show it. The only time it gets really lewd is when Rosella makes Miu watch her and Sven have sex. And Sven, he grunts like a pig, and they put squeals in over his voice whenever he does anything.
So that's his character trait. That's just straight up.
Well, when he gets beat up by Andre, everybody's at dinner. He grabs him by like the collar and he throws him on the ground. We don't see him, and he just starts kicking, and we just hear the squeals of a pig. So again, we don't see the violence happen, but we know what's happening. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So Rosella thinks that she's pregnant now. Same scene where Andre beats up her husband and she doesn't seem to care. She says, I'm not going to pay you the full salary. I'm going to pay you about $7,000, actually, or $8,000. And then Miu's like, no, we're going to pay me the full amount. And she said, no, we're actually going to pay you $7,000 now because you don't have a visa. You don't have a permit. I have all control over you. You should be lucky for what you get.
You know, this part reminds me of Pusher 3 and also what you're saying about the characters where it's like there's no real good guys in it. Like, that's the way that the
Miu
last
doesn't
Pusher...
seem like too bad of a human, and Simona for sure, since they're friends, doesn't seem that bad.
But it seems like they're all, at least all the other characters are like trying to fuck each other over, like beating people up or raping people or things like you were saying.
Andre, Rosella, and Sven are nasty humans. I agree with you there. So what ends up happening is that night, Rosella has her period show up with a vengeance. Like, it's presented like a horror movie. She pulls out her hand and it's all bloody. And she gets mad, obviously. And so she calls someone and she says, I want to cook Miu.
Oh,
you heard me
wow.
right. Yeah, she wants to like boil her brains, but then she rethinks it and she decides instead of doing that, she's just going to have her make money for them. So she sends her downstairs into the basement with the rest of the escorts, right? And those
Hold on.
Yeah.
So her first thought was,
I'm going to cook her brain.
I want to literally eat her. And then she was like, she rethinks it and it's just like, you know what? She's just going to work for us instead.
Yeah. She's like, I don't want to be too evil. And then she also, I think, is afraid of Miu because she puts on glasses to make sure that she can't get into her mind or something. I don't know what Miu's full power set is, but I assume we'll learn that later in the show. Miu goes downstairs, and most of the women down there are bullies to her because they're already fed up with their lives. It's hell for them, and they project their anger and frustration onto Miu. They even also talk about what they've done to Rosella when she's not paying attention. Like, they fed her dead cats and peanuts and put it into a stew so she eats it like normal. I don't know. Maybe the reason she was so hungry earlier is because she has a parasite. I don't know. So that night, Simona says, hey, we got to get out of here. You and I, we're going to escape. And Miu agrees. And so Simona leaves the brothel and Miu leaves the house, and it's dark outside, so they never actually meet up. And Simona gets driven off without Miu. And then Simona gets strangled in a pig factory.
No, wait, what? She dies?
Yep. We see that scene at the very beginning, but we don't know who it is. And then we see it at the end. And Simona is just being strangled out by this blonde-looking dude with gloves on in the middle of a pig factory. And then she's dead. And then we see Miu just hanging out on the street trying to look for Simona. And that's where the episode ends.
Okay, so just based off of that description, I am not surprised at all. This director, I need to say this, I don't think the show would have been made had this director not been part of it. It feels like it's a passion project of his.
Really?
But there's so much stuff that you are mentioning here that like factors in. Some of his favorite films, for example, are Clerks, 16 Candles, Cloverfield, Cannibal Holocaust, which is considered one of the most disturbing films ever made, Algiers.
Why? I can only imagine what Cannibal Holocaust means. Is it what it sounds like?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's like
Clerks and Texas Chainsaw Massacre just don't blend very well.
And also 16 Candles, John Hughes just randomly out of nowhere.
So he's like Mr. In-Between, where he makes a movie earlier on in his career, mid-2000s, and then later on makes it into a TV show?
The first film he made was Pusher. That was in 1996.
But didn't the third one come out into the 2000s?
So the second and third third one. The second one came out in 2004. The third one came out in 2005. And apparently, this is when I got a lot of respect for him because I didn't know there was this huge thing that happened. So he made Pusher, came out, was a pretty good success, got really good reviews. Then he made Fear X and I think Bleeder. That's and those were like the first two films, and they just box office bombed. They did so bad, in fact, that he himself went into bankruptcy. He was going to be making another film
Tyler Perry style.
Yeah, he was going to be making another film called Django Star. I'm not sure if it was in production development during the time, but that got completely canceled. He was down 5.5 million crown. Is that how you say? Krone. And they made a documentary about how he actually got out of it. What happened was they realized Pusher was like the only thing he had. And I don't think he wanted to make an original or make any sequels to the original. But then he made Pusher 2 and Pusher 3 just as like a last final resort.
But you've yet to talk about what's in them. Because I know I've just described this Copenhagen Cowboy first episode, but if Pusher 3 is so much like it, what is the similarity?
Okay, well, to me, Pusher 3 was a lot like Mr. In-Between, just a way less funny version. It's about a kind of criminal kingpin named Milo. And it goes through the
Is Milo supposed to be like Andre in this?
Yes, I think
Andre
so.
is kind of like Andrew Tate.
Would
that be Milo?
Milo, he cares more about his family, but yes, he's kind of someone who, except for his daughter, who I think is getting married in the movie, he's like kind of heartless. And he's like also like having to make food for them, and all the events take place throughout one day. And soon it starts to get into like people are selling other people for like sex, and kind of like it gets into like human trafficking.
Devolves. Yes, human trafficking is like a big part here. That's in bold for me.
It goes into craziness. The first 70 minutes of the film I kind of liked because it seemed like it was going on a one-track story. How is Milo going to deal with like these criminals, and how
so
is
you're
he
supposed to feel sympathy for Milo?
Yeah.
All right.
But then the last 30 minutes, he also Refn said that this was like Cannibal Holocaust was the main reason, like a main influence for it. It turns just completely gory.
He breaks bad.
It goes absolutely insane.
And
overall,
then it just ends.
Yeah, and that's basically.
I wonder if it's going to do the same thing here, because it felt like it could actually have a story arc here that completed with Miu having a decent ending. Like, she's not going to just die.
Every single review has said that it's obvious that the director is trying to make this more than one season, and that when you get to the end of this season, like the season finale, it's going to provide practically a ton of questions and no answers.
No answers?
No answers.
I already have questions. I want answers too.
But people are saying that it's obvious he's trying to make it more than one season.
Yeah, why are you telling me more about, don't tell me any more about the end. I just want to talk about this episode. Okay. First of all, it's rated MA for language and smoking.
But not for anything
else. So I do find it funny that you have a rape scene and also the butt naked snorting like a pig dude having sex with his wife, and that doesn't even make the nudity or sex or anything like that. And then going from a run-of-the-mill ABC TV show, Will Trent, to this. I mean,
I imagine
like
the jump.
It's out of the box. Okay. It's not bad.
So you actually like the TV show?
The TV show's good. You got good acting. Abstract movies can become really blurry after a while, but this one didn't overuse too much nauseating scenes like probably Cannibal Holocaust did. There's not really an overwhelming scene of violence like you get maybe in X or was that Pearl? No crazy trippy provocative shit.
Really, there's no trippy stuff.
There's some, but it's not overbearing. And there's a lot of creative direction that you need to have a temperament for it. So if you're watching it and you just want stuff to happen quicker, it's not going to happen that way. You're going to get a lot of Miu just staring off into the garden, But if you can handle that, you're also going to get some storytelling, some bold choices. There's a lot of creative symbolism with how the monsters are depicted, very less human. You know how there's anthropomorphism? This is zoomorphism, where humans take on animalistic traits.
Right.
And so that happens a lot. Even Miu at one point does this weird yawn thing where she seems to be going into sort of a seizure, but also playing the part of an animal. That's the same type of thing that the guy does when he screams at the end of the episode.
It just all seems like really weird stuff.
There's also a lot of panoramic shots or tilting, swivel cameras, and they shoot a lot from the bottom up. So you see a lot of people's chins upward.
The director is definitely an auteur when it comes to films or TV shows. He does it his own way. In fact, he actually talked, one of his biggest experiences was after he came out with Pusher, after I think wrapping completed for shooting, he had dinner with the director for On the Waterfront, and On the Waterfront director told him, he was like, look, whenever you're going to make TV or any movies or anything like that, make it your own way. And it seemed like he really bought, here.
Yeah, a couple more things. It's dark in content, but also in lighting. It's got that John Wick where they're able to make reds and purples and pinks, but still in like a very dark tone. So it's not bright by any means.
I know that people have said that the visuals for it look really good, like just the way.
If you've seen the trailer, it's basically that the whole time. And then the music is thumping synth. You get that. But my favorite part is the very end, where it changes into when Simona and Miu are supposed to meet up to escape together. It kind of goes into this really catchy melody, Western alternative hybrid that I like went back and re-listened to because I was so into it. No lyrics, but the music is really great.
You need to Shazam it.
No, I think it was its own thing. Like I think that, but I don't even think it would be on Spotify.
It sounds like you agree a lot with Collider that said that this was kind of like a gem. They rated it an A-. They got the whole season, though.
I give it a 7.5 because again, you do need to have that patience. I would compare it to Room 104, Irma Vep, John Wick because of the lighting, but mostly to Servant. Because Servant. Because you have the main character who is very strange, who may have super abilities, who probably does have super abilities. Their mannerisms are kind of awkward, and they're both like rather skinny, and they're both being used.
None of those comparisons that you said match with the comparisons that I got. I got Danish The Killing, so the original The Killing TV show.
That's a lazy one to compare this to because they're just both Danish shows.
Well, then The Punisher as well. And then also The Rain, but I think that has mostly to do with like the main actress being in both.
Again, The Punisher was not sparing when it came to showing you bloodshed and violence, and this felt more like it reminded me of the Batman animated series where they talked about how they couldn't show too much violence to kids, but they were able to do creative things to kind of represent what was going on. I've seen, what was that James Franco show, The Deuce?
The Deuce, yeah.
Yeah, and that one was like, it showed a lot of prostitution and the uglier sides of it and stuff. You don't have to see that to understand that this is a brothel. So you didn't ever see the women, at least in the first episode, doing too much that would have been off-putting to watch.
I know that Refn said that he wanted to make a show that was kind of like the main character was a superhero, but not so much with the superhero powers. Mm-hmm. The reviews themselves have been mixed. It has a 6.4 on IMDb, around 300 reviews. It has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. You have places like The Guardian giving it a 3 out of 5. Then you have IndieWire, I think, gave it like a C+, but they were saying really the show is just too much. Like people really couldn't handle it. So it comes back to, if you're okay with the director, because I think that this is a lot like his other projects. If you like his other projects, you're probably going to like this. But also, you have to realize this is someone who can go, he will go all out in terms of
No one mentioned the acting, though, because I thought all their acting was really good. There was even, when it came to dialogue, they only spoke when they had something to say. It felt a lot less written for it. I'm not going to give you any exposition here. I'm just going to talk the way that we didn't even get subtitles for one of the characters, one of the bullies downstairs, because she was speaking because Miu didn't understand her.
Oh, okay. So that was, all right, creative.
But you could figure out what was going on and the dynamics between everybody without the constant dialogue.
I didn't get a lot of people talking about the acting. I know that's 6 episodes.
The relationship that they were able to build between Simona and Miu, literally within the content of 2 or 3 scenes, so that you would feel really bad when Simona died at the end. That was pretty solid build-up.
So you were introduced to a character named Miroslav?
Miroslav, no. There was a guy, I think Nicolas is the guy who murdered Simona at the end. But I only know his name because of the credits. But Miroslav?
Miroslav was the main actor from Pusher 3, who is also going to be in this show as well. I thought he was in all 6 episodes, but apparently not. I know that they did shoot in Denmark. They started filming in 2021, and then they ended sometime in April. And I know that this has kind of been anticipated by a lot of Refn fans as well. Are you going to continue to watch the series?
I'm debating it. It just takes that patience. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this review. Bye.
Bye.